get into this discussion now. The Good Party confident that it can grow its support in next month's elections. Slow economic growth, poverty and high unemployment are just some of the problems it has vowed to address. Let's speak now to Good Party leader Patricia de Lille, who is also the Minister of Tourism in the country. Minister, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You are regarded as the first generation of members of parliament when this country transitioned into democracy.
Yeah.
We're going to deal with the man you were looking at just moments ago. I looked at your demeanor as you watched the former president speak. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to start off with Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. Was that a disappointment for you to see her go in that way with her 30 years of service in government and other spheres of the public service?
Well, first of all, I think that we must accept that we fought long and hard for all the rights that we enjoy today, including producing a very good constitution. And we are all equal before the law and before that constitution. Whether she was party to helping us to write that constitution, but the fact is she's subject to it. We must allow the space for the law to take its course. And I was pleased to see when the previous speaker handed herself over and started working with the investigating officers. But it's always sad to see that, you know, when there are allegations and they must be tested, and if you are found to be guilty, you must face the consequences. And I am sure that our courts has shown time and time again that, you know, they will act if there are excesses from anybody or from any political party.
I'm glad that you are able to move with speed as you answer these questions, because we've yet to get to the meat of why you are here. Let's talk about former President Jacob Zuma. You watched him, and I looked at your facial expression when you watched. I can't say I could place you anywhere as to what your thoughts are about him. So let me let you explain what you think of him when you see him in the trials and tribulations that he continues to be involved in.
I think for me there are two sides to the former president. When I looked at him earlier on, he has got that gift, you know, to engage with people directly. And he's also got that gift of the gab to, like, they're now misleading people, for instance. That's the one part of the man. The other part is that, you know, 9th of September 1999, when I stood up in Parliament and blew the whistle on the arms deal, and we are now in April 2024, and he has still not appeared before a court. I've been summoned several times as the witness or one of the witnesses, and I think that side of him is where for more than how many years now he's been able to play the justice system, not to see his day in court. So I don't think it's a very good example. I think that he's asked for his day in court, and the cloud will always hang over his head. So the sooner we get, you know, this arms deal trial to start, the better it will be for the former president and for the country.
Well, and lo and behold, here you are now. Today we refer to you as minister in the cabinet, in the ANC-led, or of the ANC-led administration. It was in November of last year, during your party's electoral conference, the Good Party, where you felt it necessary to address this matter head-on, and this was you being a member of cabinet in this administration. Why did you feel it necessary to do that?
I felt it necessary because I hate lies. And I hate that, you know, the people of the country must be misled deliberately for political reasons. And I also did it just to remind people about our history and where we came from. And the history of South Africa is since our late Tata Madiba, there's always been a member of an opposition party within the cabinet, starting with F.W. de Klerk, our late Prince Buthelezi, Mangena from Azapu, the Freedom Front Plus, the National Freedom Party. And when I was asked to serve, I said I can serve my country in any capacity. But the Democratic Alliance didn't accept a cabinet post. But what they did in return, they accepted 5 ambassadors' posts. Tony Leon went to Argentina, Sheila Cameron. So they also served in an ANC-led government.
Yeah.
And I had to clear that up, not to mislead people that there's a coalition between us, Good, and the ANC, which is not true. Yeah.
Do you worry sometimes that people may have difficulty separating you as leader of the Good Party from the ANC, given that you are the face of the Good Party, but they will remember you, most certainly, as serving in an ANC-led cabinet?
You know what? I always put my faith in the people of South Africa. They're not stupid. There are some people, some stupid people around who think otherwise. No, not at all. You know, we started the Good Party 4 months before the 2019 elections. And we got 2 seats in Parliament and 1 in the legislature. We continued to build Good. And I started serving in the cabinet in 2019. And in 2021, we participated in the local government elections. But we only participated in 44 municipalities. As we speak, we have got 51 councillors in 4 different provinces in this country. So if that confusion had to be there that people don't know, people know exactly. And so, no, I'm not concerned. I know that people understand when it's just politics and when it's the truth.
We're going to move to the Good Party in a moment. We're still in your cabinet role. As you mentioned, you started out in 2019. At that time, you were Public Works Minister.
And Infrastructure.
And Infrastructure. Now, you are Minister of Tourism.
Yeah.
Of these 2 portfolios, where would you say you have made the most amount of impact?
In both. You know, I was very honored when I was given a task to start an infrastructure department that has never existed in our democracy from scratch. That was my first mandate, and I'm happy that I've achieved that. I was given a mandate to prepare an infrastructure investment plan for the country. I achieved that. I have gazetted no more than 62 strategic infrastructure projects. And together with Dr. Jose-Ensa Ramagopa, we really started the infrastructure department from scratch. But I've also been able to clean up and deal with corruption within the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. When I was asked to go and serve in tourism, I got there and the first thing that landed on my desk was the Tottenham Hotspurs deal, 1 billion rand. It took me 2 weeks, dissolve the board, stop the deal, and save South Africa 1 billion rand. But also, if you see in tourism now, I've been able to bring the private sector and the public sector together. And the results for 2023 has seen a growth of over 49% of arrivals into our country, and most of them coming from the continent. So whatever task I'm given, Collie, to serve my country, I always do my best. I go in there, I know that when I'm entrusted with a budget, that money is taxpayers' money. It's not the ANC money or my money. I must make sure that I look after taxpayers' money. And I've done it in public works, and I've done it now in tourism. Maybe the next 7 administration, if the ANC is still there and they lead the government, they will put in another opposition leader. I don't expect anything beyond this 5 years, like all the other opposition leaders have served. Yes.
So let's get on the road to May 29th then. And I'm going to go back to November of last year at your party's elective conference. You had these words to say, and I quote, "The forces of the right are consolidating, including the makers and beneficiaries of apartheid under the auspices of a moonshot pact. We cannot let the enemies of progress retake the reins of power." Included in those forces is the IFP. They may come back and say they have a problem with that characterization because they've always denied being apartheid collaborators. Why the choice of framing?
It's so good that I was the first person in this country that got a ruling, a judgment on the freedom of speech. It was written by the late Judge Ismail Mohammed in the Supreme Court of Appeal, where when I was exercising my freedom of speech in Parliament, they wanted to throw me out. And they did. I was the first member of Parliament to be thrown out. And I went to the High Court and I won the case against the Speaker, the then Speaker, Frenny Janwala, which was very sad for me. New Constitution in 1996. You know, she invoked a certificate of an old Act of Parliament of 1957 to say that no member of Parliament is allowed to take Parliament to court. So again, it's freedom of speech, you know, as long as it is not hate speech. I understand my rights in the Constitution. And even today, I say what I like. You know, and people also say things about me that they like, you know, and they have their own opinions. But I didn't mean it in a sense to say that we are enemies and we hate each other. What you see with the multi-party charter is they're talking about hate. And they call the EFF the enemy, the ANC the enemy. We are not enemies. We've had enough hatred in this country over the years. We are opponents. And that's how I exercise my political rights in the country. You know, Collie, I've always been alone. I've always been alone as the only woman leader of a political party that have been able to contest election and win seats at all 3 spheres of government. So I got used to this toxic, male-dominated politics of our country. I was always outnumbered, but never outmuscled. They can never outmuscle me. So that is how I approach it. It's politics. It's not for sissies.
Never outmuscled.
Never outmuscled.
Let's talk about why you have seen it fit to re-enter the race for Western Cape Premier. And I'm saying this because on the 17th of February this year, you turned 73.
So what?
How much energy is still in there?
So what? Why do you always ask women their age? And you know, you were at another a TV station, and you asked me exactly the same question. I was trying to get the date today. And I gave you the same answer. I said, so what? You know what? I look like younger than you. So don't even ask me about energy. Because my energy comes from my love for this country. I'm a patriot. I want to see my country succeed. You know, the day when you are going to ask me to keep quiet is when you put me 6'6" under the ground. While I've got a voice still left to speak, I will continue to make sure that the freedom that we are enjoying today, there are just a few of us that are tasting that freedom. All of us have got a responsibility to work hard and to work damn hard to make sure that we grow the pool of people that must taste the fruits of our new democracy. Got enough energy.
And so the people of the Western Cape, what is it that they can expect from Patricia?
And let me just say the last thing. The next politician that come in here, whether it's Kenna Matthew or Cyril Ramaphosa or Jacob Zuma or anybody, please ask them, how old are they?
I will make a point.
Exactly, then I will be happy.
So the offer to the people of the Western Cape, what is it that you are going to offer them, and why are you not interested in the national politics? Or perhaps let's pause it there and take a break. The leader of the Good Party, who doubles up as Minister of Tourism, Patricia de Lille. Minister, let's then talk about the offering for the people of the Western Cape. And I think the break has given me a perfect way to reframe this question, because just yesterday, the Western Cape and Gauteng were counted as the two provinces that account for 70% of corruption cases right now. This was a report by Corruption Watch. So when you listen to statistics like that, what is it that you think you could offer the people of the Western Cape in order to reverse that?
Let me start off by saying that we've launched our national manifesto. That is a recipe to rebalance society and our country, to rebalance what we have, the majority of poor people down here and a few people rich up there. So the Western Cape fits into that recipe, where the imbalances is growing by the day. There's an influx of people coming to migrate there, but it's all in the upper LSMs. And they live in the part of where they feel comfortable and safe. But if you go into the poorer communities, it's not the same. You know, I have been the mayor of the city of Cape Town for 8 years. And all the things, and this is where my fight came with the Democratic Alliance, about the issue of apartheid spatial planning. It's an indictment on all of us that after all of these years, we still continue to perpetuate apartheid spatial planning by taking our people far out of the cities. I came with a plan, and I still have that plan. I once was on with Thabo Mduli, and I showed him. I wanted to integrate the city of Cape Town. Those unfinished bridges, I wanted to build affordable social housing there, to bring the domestic workers and the people that were forcibly removed from District 6 back into the city. Oh, I became enemy number one. The gentrification in the city of Cape Town. It's displacing people on a daily basis. And we have got a plan. And it's unfinished business for me. I want to go and finish off that business. If you look at the court case now, there's a school, Tafelberg School, in Sea Point. Ideal site with infrastructure, bulk infrastructure to build social housing there. The court ruled against the Western Cape government. They are appealing it now because they don't want anybody of color to come and disturb their peace. So my experience of working and living in the Western Cape is part of what we are looking at, not just the Western Cape, but how we rebuild our country on a national basis. So the key issues for me is that we're not going to make promises, sit here with you tonight and make promises. I'm saying to you that on the 1st of June 2024, after the elections, nothing would have changed in our country. Nothing. You might only change the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. But what we are saying, we have to change the structure of government that has failed to deliver and has struggled to deliver. So we have proposed how to professionalize the civil servants, deal with corruption. Corruption steals directly from the poor. And I've seen that report. And so everybody says, oh, this well-run Western Cape. Huh? They just have more finesse when they steal. Unlike some other people who steal and then start buying Gucci suits and cars and all of that. They steal and they take the money out of the country, or they buy houses in Spain and all of that.
Well, they're going to counter and say,
yes,
the irony is that you sit in a government of the ANC where perhaps
it's not the ANC government.
More politicians from that party perhaps have seen themselves
I don't care who steals, they steal our money.
With their hands in the cookie.
Whether they're ANC or DA or EFF or good, you don't steal from poor people. So political parties doesn't matter. Stop stealing and stop taking money that must go to the poor and the vulnerable. Doesn't matter what political party you are from.
Let's conclude the conversation on this point. The Western Cape still struggles with the question of gangsterism and high levels of crime that come from that gangsterism. How would you take it?
Very sad. Very sad. I see it, I get angry when I get into those communities. Against is about how do you prioritize your budget. What they've done in the Western Cape, they took over R1 billion to employ more LEAP officers. You can't just put police to deal with crime. You need to have that balance. You have to deal with the socio-economic conditions under which people live on the Cape Flats and Nyanga and Guguletu and fix that. But this kop skiet and donor and just employ more police to arrest people and put them into jail. And that is the imbalance in the Western Cape. We need to put more money into socio-economic improvement for all the people of the Western Cape. And then you've got urbanization. A lot of people are moving from poorer provinces to the Western Cape. And so informal settlements have become the norm. We need to see a plan. How are you going to deal with informal settlements? How are you going to formalize it? How are you going to give people a piece of land? Give them title. Because they can live anywhere in South Africa. Nobody's a refugee in the Western Cape because there's one South Africa.
Patricia de Lille, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.